Somewhere between reality and imagination lies the realm of the paranormal. A place filled with spirits, magic, and the unexplained. Come with us on our journey to discover if the stories are true or if they are all just smoke and mirrors.
Welcome to Smoke and Mirrors, the podcast that dives deep into cases of the paranormal, the unusual, and the unexplained to separate the facts from the fiction. I am your host, Darrell.
And I'm Cindi.
And today we have an interview with 2016 Bigfoot Hunter of the Year, Stacy Brown. We discuss his thermal evidence, how he got started, skepticism, and his experience on Spike TV's $10 Million Bigfoot Bounty. I think you're really going to enjoy this one.
Before we get into that, we wanted to discuss the story that was sent in to us last week from listener Mike. We're going to play that again right now for any new listeners who may have missed it.
Hey, Darrell. Hey, Cindi. My name is Mike. My story involves an old abandoned house back in Greenfield, Wisconsin that had been empty for a number of years. Windows were busted out. Two of my cousins, my brother, myself, and another girl decided to go take a look at it one day. So we walked down there. It wasn't too far from where I lived. And the girls decided when we got there that they weren't going to go in. So we're like, oh, okay, whatever. My cousin Steve, brother Mark, and myself all climbed in this back window of the house. We're kind of looking around. Didn't look like anyone was living in there at all. It was just kind of just rubbish from, when people move or whatever. We're walking through the house and we see, just random bits of stuff, broken glass, broken windows, stuff like that. And at one point I found a bloodied knife on the kitchen counter. It was dried, so it wasn't fresh, but wasn't too concerned. So I set it back down, continued to walk around. We see the basement steps, half of which were gone. Basement's flooded, it's just kind of peeking around. There's nothing down there. So I pick up a rock and I threw it down the stairs. So instead of the expected splash, we heard nothing. About 2 seconds later, it felt like 2 anyway, the rock comes flying back up at us. It was at this point that we decided it was time to leave. So as we're walking, running, I don't know what we were doing, but we were moving towards the back of the house. The girls are looking in at us coming out, and he starts screaming. I don't even know what they were saying, but it was terror in their voices. So my cousin gets through the window first. We're shoving him out, pushing him. Hurry, let's go. They're out the window. My brother gets out the window, and I didn't just climb through the window. I dove head first through where the hole where the window is. And as I rolled, I could see in the window frame a shadow, not a person. I saw a shadow there. No face, just very creepy, very eerie. So I'm wondering if you guys have any thoughts on if it was a ghost just getting us out of the house, because nothing else happened after. It was just, that was it. That was done. That's my story. Let me know what you think.
So what are your thoughts on Mike's story?
Well, it creeps me out every time I hear it. The part about the rock getting thrown back to them after he throws it down into the basement gives me goosebumps, makes the hair on my arms stand up. I definitely would have also ran out of the house.
Now, I have a tendency to believe it was something more of this earth. With him saying that there was a knife there that had some dried blood on it, it makes me think that maybe someone was squatting in the house. And since I don't know how deep the water actually was in the basement, it's a possibility that someone was hiding down there during the day. And if he maybe threw a rock down there, maybe the guy caught it and threw it back. I don't know.
So you think that somebody was standing in the water in the basement, listening to them walk around, and then waiting for something to happen, and happened to be there at the exact time Mike threw the rock, caught it, and threw it back?
I don't know that he was just sitting around waiting for something to happen, but it's possible that he could have been hiding in there because he didn't want anyone to know he was there, because if they report him, then the cops are going to come and drag him out. So he might have been hiding down there, and it just so happened when he threw the rock that he caught it and threw it back and then chased him upstairs. And by the time they got out, he said he saw a shadow. It could have just been the way the light was hitting him and maybe putting a shadow up on the window. I just, before I move to the point that I'm willing to say it's paranormal, I want to rule out all the things that it could logically be from this earth.
But he did say that some of the stairs were missing. So it probably wouldn't be that easy for someone to run up the stairs. I mean, didn't he say most of them were missing? And
yeah, he said some of them were missing, yeah.
I think it was probably a ghost.
It may have been. I'm not going to completely rule it out, but I'm not going to say that it is either.
It's scary. It's a scary story to me.
Well, either way, it's a scary proposition, because if someone was actually living in that house or squatting in that house and they walked in on him, I mean, the guy could have hurt him, pretty bad, which is, to me, it's scarier than the idea of a ghost.
I could see that, but I still think it was a ghost.
All right.
Thanks again, Mike, for sending your story in. And if you have a story you'd like to share, feel free to send it to us at smokeandmirrorspod@gmail.com. We'd love to hear it and talk about it on the show.
All right, so let's move on to the interview with Stacy Brown. Now, unfortunately, you weren't able to join me for this interview.
Yeah, I had some stuff with work that I had to get taken care of, and I was really bummed because I really wanted to talk to him and hear what he had to say. But
so let's go ahead and play it, and then we'll discuss our thoughts on it at the end. Today, I'm really excited to talk to the winner of Spike TV's $10 million Bigfoot Bounty, 2016 Bigfoot Hunter of the Year, actor, singer, director. This man does it all. It's Mr. Stacy Brown Jr.
What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
All right. You left off one thing on that introduction. You should have put baby's daddy.
Baby daddy.
Yeah, be baby daddy too.
I was going to say the bearded wonder that makes the Bigfoot ladies howl.
How you doing, man?
Oh, man, I'm doing good. Unfortunately, Cindy couldn't be here for this one. She got tied up at work, but I know she was looking forward to talking to you, and so that's just the way that occurred. But I kind of want to jump right in here, man, because I'll be honest, even though I'm skeptical, I'm completely fascinated by this subject and the stories that are told by the people who have firsthand accounts and all the things that are involved with it. So how did you get involved in Bigfoot hunting, and when did you start doing it as like a serious hobby or a profession?
I guess when I was a little kid, probably like 6 years old, I would go out. I thought Bigfoot lived in the wooded lot that was across the street. Me and my dad would watch these shows, Unsolved Mysteries and Sightings, and
yeah,
we'd watch these shows in search of, and I'm like, oh, Bigfoot, and matter of fact, I still got a little shirt. It's like a 4T. There was no Bigfoot clothes back then, but my dad bought a really nice white shirt and had painted a Bigfoot on the front of it and put Bigfoot at the top. I wore that thing. I still got it. He pulled it out the other day, and I was like, awesome. It's going in my office.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'd go across the street and get my sister and my best friend, and we'd hunt Bigfoot in the woods across the street. And I'd be armed with a one of them shoulder VHS camcorders.
Oh,
I could
yeah.
barely tote. It was a Panasonic. And, they'd have, my dad taught martial arts at the time, so they'd have nunchucks or other kinds of weapons out of the, of the classroom. And, so we were Bigfoot hunting, and then, I did music, wrestling for a while. Wrestling was a big part of my life after that. Greco-Roman.
Yeah.
Collegiate wrestling, not wrestling.
Yeah.
But, I was in that backyard wrestling too. But then I was in a rock band. We were doing really good. I dropped out of school to go on tour, and I was doing that for a while. And then I was like 27, and me and my dad were going to go Bigfooting. Because we had been doing it a few years, but it was just more or less getting out of the house, hanging out.
Yeah.
We were camping. Neither one of us really give it 2 cents. It wasn't that we didn't think there was a Bigfoot. It's just we didn't think there was a Bigfoot in Florida, So my wife wouldn't go and my mom wouldn't go. So we got to spend father-son time. And then my dad got sick with cancer, and we were supposed to go to a lady's house, but he couldn't make it. So me and my bass player went, and then that's when I had my first actual Bigfoot encounter.
Nice.
And after that, it was just all in. After that, I quit my band, sold my truck. I kind of got obsessed, and then my dad got over his cancer and wanted to go with me. So he actually, he's seen how much I was into it because I had quit my band. So he knew it was like, all right, maybe there's something to it. So he sold his boat and bought a thermal camera. But anyways, we went out and, we got some knocks and things, but nothing really that was like to write home about, tell my friends, oh yeah, we're on the trail of Bigfoot,
Yeah.
Nothing like that. And then we captured the footage, and that was kind of the moment it all turned upside down, I guess. Like I started getting calls from TV networks and stuff.
And that was the thing, the thermal footage. I mean, I've watched it a few times, and of course, everybody knows that, well, or at least the people that know me know that I'm blind, because I got just limited vision in my left eye. But I can even look at it with it pulled up close to my eye and see something moving in the background, and it doesn't look human.
No, and we didn't know what it was. Like, it was a Tuesday night, and had got that, and we didn't know what to do with it, right? So Finding Bigfoot was a TV show that was on.
Yeah.
And they had an episode where they had come to Florida, so I contacted one of the guys named Cliff off of there. And over the next 7 or 8 months, we did an investigation. He didn't come down, but he would actually relay questions to me, and I would drive to the spot and get this information for him.
Okay.
And it wasn't every day that we went, but there was at least, I'd say, once every 2 weeks, I was out there doing some stuff for him, getting size measurements, and because it was completely black when we got the footage. All right.
Yeah.
No light at all. We didn't have our lights on, and so we didn't know exactly where we were standing at, which became the problem, because it's like we can't tell the size if we don't know where we're standing.
Yeah, exactly.
So that's what made the process incredibly long and difficult. So once we got that down, got where the branch was lined up in the right side of the screen, then we were able to figure out what tree it was behind, and the size that he came up with is 8.5 feet.
I saw that episode, and it's definitely larger than most people I've ever seen.
Well, Bobo's big. He was 6'5".
Oh,
and
yeah?
This thing's 1.5 feet taller than him. And he did a recreation there. And so that gap that it crosses in 1.5 steps is 9 feet wide.
Wow.
So you figure trying to do that, it's pretty difficult, and make it a fluid movement, because we tried. And then even Cliff, when Cliff ended up coming out to the spot, we tried to debunk that.
Yeah.
And people still try to date. People still want to talk. And it premiered at the FLIR conference in Orlando, which were $1,200 a ticket.
Yeah.
It was stupid. But anyways, there's all these experts there, and they're looking the footage, and a few of them take it with them, and they're breaking it down and stuff. And they all come to the conclusion that whatever it is a real object. It's not CGI or anything, because when it first come out, I didn't hear no flack from the Bigfoot community.
Yeah.
They were all like, oh man, this footage is awesome. It's some of the best footage since '67. And then I won the Spike TV. I won a research grant. And so then everybody's like, oh, he's a hoaxer, blah, blah, blah. It was now y'all are jealous. That's the only thing I can figure.
Yeah. And I was going to wait a little later and talk about this, but since you brought it up, I watched one of the videos of there's a guy named Richter that was on the show with you.
Oh yeah, that clown.
Yeah, and honestly, just to listen to it and to watch it, he's kind of sour grapes.
Oh yeah, he made a fool of himself on national television. That was another thing. It was we released the footage on the 1st of December. Well, the next day, Spike TV called.
Yeah.
Animal Planet called that day. The next day, Spike TV called. Signed up to do both of them shows, but my dad was going to be my partner.
Yeah.
And then my dad heard it was a contest, a Survivor type show. And he bailed out. He's like, no, I ain't doing that. I ain't doing no game show. make me look like a fool. So he backed out of it, and there was a lot of things. Richter run around with that Dr. Meldrum's Guide to Bigfooting pamphlet the whole time, and had never been in the woods before.
Yeah.
He made a real fool of himself, and that was the thing about that show. We didn't want to make a fool out of ourselves.
Yeah. Now, I want to get to that a little later on, because I want you to describe what it was like when you got that footage. Man, that had to be kind of an intense moment. What exactly occurred while that was going on?
Well, see, we were standing around the campfire, and I was playing some White Zombie.
Okay.
A big White Zombie fan. So I had Les Exorcisto, or however you say that, album on, right? We were cooking some ribs and jamming out. My dad could probably care less for the White Zombie, but he was listening to it either way. And we started hearing knocks. And my dad's like, oh, that's the wind. That's just the wind. And then it happened again. And I looked up at the trees. I'm like, where's the wind at? I was like, that's the wind. Where's the wind at? And he goes, all right, if it happens again, we'll go check it out. And then right as he said it, bam! Like, it looked like a horror movie. You know how they'll say something? Well, if that happens again, I'll get up or something. And then it happened again, right, immediately. So it's pretty cool. We headed down this trail where the palmettos had, they were kind of tall, so they kind of hid us. And we went with no lights on because of that thermal on the Black Hawk. It had just rained, so you could see the ground pretty good. It kind of looked like it had been snowing.
Yeah.
Or at least you could see where you were walking. And we headed down the trail and heard something running around, like more than one thing. That's the thing about the footage. We only got one of them.
Okay.
I believe there was like 3 or 4 of them out there, unless it was chasing something. I have nothing to back that up. That's my feeling.
Yeah.
From being there, And it run one way, and then you'd hear it on this other ridge, and then you'd hear it over here. And I'm thinking, what in the world? So we finally hear one that's close to us. And I'm like, hey, the trail's right here. Let's take a left. And so we took a left, and we weren't on the trail. It was actually on a dried creek bed. It just looked like a trail. And walked down there. My dad's like, whoa, hold up. Stop. He's like, something on the tree. And he thought it was a coon, right? Because it's just sticking out of one side of the tree.
Yeah.
Well, then it goes and sticks out the other side, so it still thinks it's a coon. And then it's sticking out of both sides. So, hey, maybe it's 2 coons. And then the thing takes off. Well, I was filming him with a night shot, like the little Sony crappy handy cam. And I filmed from the second we left the camp till the second we got the footage.
Oh, sweet.
And then the reaction, I have all of it on tape. I have somebody becoming a Bigfoot believer on tape. That is the most awesome thing. Like, you can't fake that.
Yeah.
So anyways, this thing takes off, and I don't know what we're running. My dad just takes off running. We got to go. And he's running back to the camp. Which way to the camp? Blah, blah, you got your gun? And I'm like, what are we running? I don't know what we're running from. All I can think is that it's a panther.
Yeah.
I'm trying to figure out why he's so scared. So we get back to the camp. He's like, hey, got no more batteries. The thermal's dead. I can't see it. The thing was watching us, man. It was big. I didn't see it till we actually got to the parking lot where the truck was at, which is about a mile away. So a good 30, 40 minutes before I seen the footage. So it wasn't that intense for me. I mean, it was, but it wasn't. I didn't see it.
Yeah, it wasn't like it was for your dad.
Yeah, he was like, flipping out.
See, and that's what I like about that story right there that you just told, because your dad was trying to look for the most logical reason, that it could be.
Everybody's got that logical explanation for Bigfoot and everything that's going on. They're going to go out there and they're going to tell you, yeah, this is happening. And that's all fine and dandy. It works good for them until there's a Bigfoot, and they can't deny it.
Like I said, whenever you were first telling that story and talking about, the movement all around, the first thing that I thought of was coyotes.
Mm-hmm.
Because coyotes will spread out and circle whatever they're going to attack. And so that probably would have been the first thing that went through my head was, all right, we got coyotes moving in on us. And I mean, especially because I'm not saying this is it in every case, but I've watched a lot of the shows on this, and a lot of the howls that they catch. I mean, I've heard coyotes make those noises 1,000 times, and I've heard owls make those noises.
Yeah. That's the thing about the shows. They're a show and they're trying to make a show. I've been on them.
Yeah.
They're not real. They're not out there actually doing it. Them guys stay in a motel at night. A nice motel. Because they put me in one every single time I've filmed one of them shows. And everybody's drinking and having a good time. And it's a party every night.
Yeah.
Because we don't get up till lunch the next day. So they're not out there making it. they're not out there actually looking. I think that's where people get aggravated with it. It's like, oh, these guys think they hear a Bigfoot, and then they leave and they head to another town. They don't care what they heard out there.
Yeah.
Now they're making a paycheck.
Hmm.
So you got to remember that. But, and that's another thing about me. I'm not one of these people to just jump on, hey, that's a Bigfoot. I'll run it through my mind too. Well, what is that? And that's why we didn't release that footage right away, because we didn't want to find out 2 months down the line after releasing it, there was some huge weirdo out in the woods at, midnight on a Tuesday watching us a mile into the woods, who didn't drive a car to the state park because nobody was there but us.
Yeah.
I still remember checking in that day. Oh, y'all got the park to yourselves.
And I actually saw a show on Science Channel where a police officer thought he saw a Bigfoot right across the road. And it turned out to be two guys that were dressing up and had done it for like 2 or 3 nights in a row.
Yeah.
But they showed the footage to, I can't think of what the guy's name is, the balding guy that writes Skeptical Reporter or something. I can't remember his name.
Yeah.
But anyway, and he said, oh, no, that's a black bear. And then it turned out to be just 2 college kids, And I mean, so that right there kind of knocked a little bit of his credibility on debunking things, for me anyway. But I kind of want to shift back into just talking more about the Bigfoot. Now, again, like I said, I'm not a big believer, but I think that if it does exist, it's an unknown type of great ape. Is that what you think, or do you think it's something totally different?
Myself personally, I think I guess it would be that missing link.
Okay.
That's what we're looking for. That thing that's between the gorillas and us. Because you have your little thing of all the primates, and then there's a wide jump between gorillas and us. Sure, gorillas are strong, but they're not all that smart. You can't jump to something like us. I think what we would have is something that we evolved down from.
Okay.
That didn't go extinct. So you'd have the Sasquatch being the ultimate woods primate, intelligent, more intelligent than a gorilla, larger, the strongest by far. And then we evolved down to we're not that strong, but we're much more smarter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think in that, talking in that aspect, you would have to go with that. But there's people that claim these things travel through dimensions.
Yeah.
I've seen some weird stuff that I can't explain. I just don't like to jump out and say that, because that's something I'm never going to be able to prove that anyways. But I had some encounters that just made me like, did that really just happen? Because maybe these people are right. I mean, honestly, when it comes down to it, I really don't know what it is.
I have a hard time believing theories that they're from another dimension, that they have psychic abilities, and that they work for aliens. Yeah.
That's pretty much it. There's this one theory that they can cloak, go invisible, like Predator. But the one thing I can say for their argument, and I made this speech at a conference, is that I promise you, if it was just an ape, if there was nothing else to it, but it was just an ape, I would have done shot and killed one, and we would have one in a zoo by now.
Yeah.
I can't see us not capturing it in all these years. Now, to debunk that, to say, well, there's not that many people looking for Bigfoot, and the people that are looking for Bigfoot are clowns. Like most of them, brother, are clowns.
But on the other side of that, I would say that there are still species of primates that are being found just today.
Well, yeah, but you figure this is North America. Somebody would have hit one with a car.
Yeah, maybe.
Especially with all the road sightings. Or maybe they do hit them with cars. Maybe this is covered up. There's that theory out there, too. Because what did the spotted owl do to the logging industry when they discovered that thing was around still? It shut it down. So you have to look at that. If Bigfoot was proven to be real, well, logging's got to halt at some point, and the people that log the most in this country, that got the most stake in logging, is the government. All the national forest land and stuff, that's like, especially down in Florida, it's just planted pines.
Yeah.
They log it on the regular. So there's a few different theories. There actually was just a new orangutan in Indonesia.
Yeah.
that just came out. I posted it on Facebook today. So, yeah, I guess, I mean, if it's smart enough and elusive, it could avoid capture, but I would like to think not. I would like to think that somebody would have, put one down or put it in a zoo by now.
Yeah, maybe. But I mean, especially like orangutans, man, they are highly, highly intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of people don't give them enough credit, because I knew a guy whose father was the head veterinarian at the Cleveland Zoo.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that he always talked about was how smart the orangutans were, and that they would literally have to go in if they were going to knock them down in order to do surgery or whatever they had to do. You had to send 4 or 5 guys in to try to trick them.
Yeah.
Because one person wasn't going to do it. They would outsmart you. And then if they got a hold of you, you're done. They're going to rip you apart.
Well, and there's, like with the Sasquatch, if they are just flesh and blood and they haven't been captured, you have to also think about, well, what do they have that's different? Because, like, seriously, in our footage, the only thing it proved, at least to me and my dad, because no matter how many times you watch that footage, or if you believe me 100%, you don't know if it was real.
Yeah.
You don't know if I'm lying to you. And, like, you need to keep that open on everything. So until you see one, talk is cheap.
Yeah.
And I hate to say that about myself. I'm just being realistic with you. You don't know for sure that I'm telling the truth. But to me and my dad, we were there. We know it happened. So the one thing that proved to us is that Sasquatch was looking at us. And I promise you, I could not see my hand in front of my face.
And this was one of the reasons I wanted to have you on, is because I'd heard you on another podcast and heard you talking about it. And I knew that while you believe what you've seen, you've experienced what you've experienced, you still are not so far to the side of believing that everything else is out of the picture.
No, and I completely understand the point where people don't believe. Like, because seriously, you have people that believe in Bigfoot, and they'll swear up and down Bigfoot's real, but they've never had an experience.
Yeah.
Like Cliff Barackman, he's never seen one, but he swears up and down they're real. And I don't get that. I don't understand. I don't know why you have all this faith placed in something that you really don't know nothing about.
Yeah.
Me, myself, had I not, like, if you'd asked me 10 years ago if Bigfoot was real, I'd be like, no, it's cool, but it probably ain't real. It takes seeing one to change your mind, to make you, fully believe in it.
Yeah.
So
going back to the hunting, whenever you're out on a hunt, what kind of evidence are you looking for?
I mean, for the most part, I'm looking for tracks. I love to track. I love to find, like, when I go into the forest, the floor kind of just looks like little highways to me, and I love to follow along with those things. But tracks don't prove nothing. And so we're trying to collect scat, trying to collect hair. But when I go into an area, when I'm looking to see if Bigfoot's real, I'm looking to see if there's habitat.
Okay.
Like, first of all, what's the bear population like here? Because if there ain't no bears there, there's a reason there ain't no bears there. And some people want to tell you, oh, it's because the bears don't want to share the same spot as Bigfoot. That's bullcrap. A bear's going to go where there's food.
Yeah.
They don't care what's in the area. But I'm looking for food sources. I'm looking for water. I'm looking for edibles. Not just like, oh, there's deer here, they can eat deer. Bigfoot ain't going to eat deer all the time. Their diet's going to be very similar to a black bear. So I want to know how many bears are in that area. That's the main thing I'm looking for. And then after that, looking for bedding, like spots where stuff's bedded down. We're looking for scat, hairs, tracks.
With the tracks, I know that bear, especially because of their gait pattern, and especially if it's muddy or the snow, their back foot will step in the same track that their front foot was in, and it'll kind of smear and give it that elongated look.
Yeah, their back foot almost looks like a regular foot anyways. So once you add the pad to that, the front paw, you've got now a 15-inch track.
Yeah.
That, but I guess you'd have to be educated on what tracks look like. That's a lot of things with Bigfooters. They don't educate them things in themselves in things like anatomy or, tracking. I mean, a lot of Bigfooting is just sitting around a campfire. And that's what most people do. I myself, I do that every now and then. I'll do that a few times a year where I get up with my extended friends, people I don't see all the time. And we'll do that. We'll hang out, play music, and then go out for an hour or two. But like when I'm out by myself, I'm by myself. I'm going out there and I usually sleep on the ground. If you become a part of that forest and you keep your mouth shut, you'll be shocked at all the animals that are in it.
Absolutely.
And if you're going Bigfooting and you're not coming back with pictures of anything, and that's another thing. People always are on your tail about, oh, well, why can't you get a picture of it? Why can't you get a picture of it? Okay, listen, we know deers exist. Go out to the woods, not somebody's yard. Go out to the woods and give me a clear photo of a deer.
Yeah.
Go do it. It ain't easy.
No, and anyone that's ever been a deer hunter will tell you how hard it is to get a clear shot of a deer.
Yeah. So, it's one of them things, and you have to be able to do that. Like some of our exercises when we get up and have these big, because I got a team, and so we'll get up and do like training and stuff, more or less. So we'll just go out and all right, everybody, y'all got the whole afternoon. Go out and take as many pictures as you can of actual animals and bring back crystal clear images. It is incredibly difficult.
Yeah.
Like even a squirrel, getting the squirrel to sit still long enough and to find the squirrel, because the ones in the woods ain't like the ones at your house.
No,
the ones in your house are used to you. The ones in the woods, here you come, and they scatter.
Now, that was something else that I thought about quite a bit because, I've done a lot of hunting in my time. I grew up out in the middle of nowhere, and you would go out, and we had woods that were all back behind our house, and you'd go back through the woods and stuff, and the squirrels there, if they got aggravated at you, they'd throw stuff at you.
Yeah. These ones over here at the house want me to kill them because they chatter. They upstairs the other day messing with my Halloween decorations. They were like chattering their teeth like they're mad at me. I'm like, oh, you pressing your luck, buddy. I don't shoot you because I live in the neighborhood, but that could change.
I kind of wonder a lot of times when people say, well, I've had stuff thrown at me. Is it a Bigfoot or is it a squirrel?
Exactly. And that's the only thing. That's another thing. Like, unless you've seen the Bigfoot and unless you got a photo about it or a photo of it, I don't really care to hear it, because it doesn't do me no good to go up and show up to a spot where you've seen a Bigfoot 2 years ago.
Yeah.
That spot's drastically changed since then. You need to get proof. You can't, a story, like I said earlier, talk is cheap. If you've seen a Bigfoot, I understand why people keep their mouth shut. They can't prove they actually seen a Bigfoot, and nobody's going to believe you, including me. So, and I've also talked to probably 2,000 people about it, and a lot of them are lying. I don't get it either. I don't understand why somebody would waste my time. Like I had a hotline at one point where I was taking calls 24/7,
Wow.
Bigfoot reports, and a lot of people are lying, and I just don't understand why they would do such things.
I think it becomes a thing where it makes them feel a little more important. And if they can get somebody to believe it, it's like bigging themselves up.
I guess. I don't know. I didn't think there was people like that. I didn't think people were that sad, but people shock me every day. So, there's some messed up people out there.
Now, another thing too, on a lot of the shows, they make a big deal about the knocks and the howls. How much do you put into that?
The howls, not so much. When I go out west or to other places, I try to familiarize myself with the local animals and the noises they make to the habitats that I'm going in. And I'll usually go with somebody that knows that stuff. Like Les Stroud, buddy of mine, he knows everything out in Oregon and Canada. Like he'd be able to tell you, So if I got a question, I'll ask him, well, what do you think that was? If he tells me what it was, that's cool. But like in my area where I'm at, if I don't know what it is, then we got something.
Okay.
Then I think, hey, we got something. We're still running audio. Now, the knocks, I still to this day can't tell you how they're doing it, but they're doing it. But I don't know how, because you can go out and pick a tree limb up and smack it up against a tree, and it doesn't make that sound. It does not make that crisp knock, baseball-like fat sound. And it almost, are they doing it with their mouth? Because like black bears make a similar sound. It's a popping.
Yeah.
They do it with their jaw when they're in distress. Orangutans and chimpanzees, they'll clap their hands, So that's a real phenomenon. I just don't know what it is. And if you want to ever try that phenomenon out, go to where there's an area where there's a lot of Bigfoot activity. Okay.
Yeah.
Stay out there for 2 nights and listen to the woods, and you'll hear them. You'll hear the knocks if the Bigfoots are in that area. So the BFRO database is a good tool for that, because they'll post you, like, you can usually look at the sightings in an area, and they're all grouped into like one time a year on different years, so hey, my best chance is going to be fall here or spring here. Well, you go and you listen out there and you'll hear knocks. Well, when I come to my house, I'm back in the neighborhood, there's woods around me. I'm still in the neighborhood, but there's woods around me, and there ain't no knocks, so it's not a naturally occurring phenomenon.
I've often wondered, because like I said, man, the only experience I have with it is, of course, the shows that I've seen and videos I've watched online and things like that. But I always wondered to myself, how do they know maybe there's not another group out there that's hunting and they're doing whoops and knocks and.
But you have to worry about that. You have to worry about that when you go in areas where there is a lot. Like if you go to Salt Fork State Park in Ohio, you got to worry about that. That's a lot of people go Bigfooting there. The places where I go, if there's somebody out there, hell, there's something wrong with them. First of all, y'all out here in these mosquitoes, and people like, oh, mosquitoes are bad. Come to Florida. Y'all don't have mosquitoes. I promise. I've been all over the country. Y'all ain't got mosquitoes. These mosquitoes down here will literally tote you off. I seen them pick my buddy up and tote him about 50 yards. I don't know where the hell they was taking him. They was going somewhere with him. But and then in the swamp with the gators and the reptiles, the snakes and stuff.
Yeah.
If there's somebody way out in them swamps that we go into, and you're talking about like man-eating snakes, 15, 18-foot pythons, there's somebody way out there where I'm at, they got problems, and I need to get out. I need to get on out.
Although I knew a guy that said he used to drop acid and walk through the Everglades.
Hey, there's a guy, like one of my guys, Stevie Strings, he's like, man, I just found a track. How old do you think this track is? And he sent me the picture, and I was like, bro, I give that 30 minutes. I was like, you need to start looking around you right now. Put your head on a swivel. And I said, that's not a Bigfoot. That's a person. And he's way out in Mayaca State Park, which is a massive state park, like huge. And he's way in the backcountry, the part they call the backcountry. You can only walk into, and it takes hours to get there. I was like, you need to, be careful. He calls him back. He's like, I just seen somebody, and it's him and his old lady, right? So I was like, well, hey, man, just try to stay away from him. Keep your gun on you. And there was a guy watching him from the bushes. So they get down the trail a little ways, and they hear this guy. He comes out on the trail, and he's like, hey, y'all hold up. He starts running to him. He's about 100 yards off. He gets closer, and they realize he ain't got no clothes on, but like this fishnet underwear deal where you can see everything sticking out, and it's like something that he's made. Okay? This man is running to him, runs all the way up to him. Stevie pulls his gun. He's like, you need to get out of here. The guy turns around and runs off. Apparently, the guy's name is Dwayne. He went to prison, did a lot of prison time, but got out and somehow had $3 or $4 million.
Oh, man.
Yeah. I think he took a fall for somebody or something, but the park rangers will tell you about him down there. And they can't catch him. He just lives in the damn woods. He has somebody bring him supplies every so often, and he lives out there in the woods. He lives out there in that swamp, and he's not right. And that's another thing, so somebody could live out there because this guy's in good shape.
Yeah.
He doesn't look like he's starving. From the description, he just looks insane, but he's built well.
Yeah. Which makes him a little scarier.
Yeah. And they can't catch him. So how are they going to catch a Bigfoot? Now, this is like game and fish trying to go in there and catch this man.
Yeah.
And they can't do it.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Yeah. But sometimes there's people out there, and you do have to worry about that. And it's just good to, I guess, if you can't do it yourself, you got to have somebody like play devil's advocate. You got to have somebody there to shoot you down, shoot the theory down.
Yeah.
And then when they can't shoot it down, then you got something.
Yeah. That's the thing. I'm going to guess it's like anything else. 95% or so is that stuff that can be debunked, and you always are left with that small amount that keeps you scratching your head and thinking, I don't know exactly what's occurring here.
Exactly. From my experiences, stuff I've seen, stuff that happens, and now you figure out of all the times I go, my success rate's probably around like 5 or 6%.
Yeah.
It's not good. A lot of times nothing happens, but so there's times that something does happen. But off the stuff I've learned off of that, when you look into the reports, like if I get 100 reports, 95 people are straight up lying.
Yeah.
Just like I told you, I don't know why. You've got 2 or 3 people in there that are misidentifying whatever they're seeing, and then you've got like 2 or 3 people that are telling the truth. And like it's only people only know because there's a certain outlook on the way these things look. There's a certain like stigma. These for some reason it's out there how these creatures look. Maybe it's because of Harry and the Hendersons or whatever, but
yeah,
they don't look like what people say they look like. And when you talk to somebody that describes it how I seen it, and I don't put it out there, I don't describe the face, that helps me filter out whether this person is telling the truth or not.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of your bigger names that do that. That they, like Dr. Meldrum, there's a few things in the track that are going to give it away whether it's real or not. And he's not going to tell what those things are. I know what they are, but it's not. It's like you got to be privy to that information and figure it out yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's people fall into a few categories when they see one. They're either A, just lying, misidentified, they're delusional, or they're telling the truth.
Yeah.
Because you do have some people that believe it and they're crazy.
And you have the percentage that, I mean, just the way the brain works, if you get scared, your brain is designed to only focus in on about 15% of the things that are in your area, and then your mind will just make up the rest because it wants you to get out of there.
Oh, yeah. And
so you'll have a percent of the population that will swear up and down that they saw something when maybe they didn't. They heard something and it scared them, and their brain just kind of filled in the blanks.
Yep.
And they'll pass a lie detector test because they honestly believe that that's what occurred.
Well, you have to think about it as well. If people were seeing this creature as much as they claim they are, all these sightings, and you've seen that on the Finding Bigfoot, everybody had a Bigfoot sighting.
Yeah.
Dude, if people were seeing them that much, you don't think somebody would have caught one?
Exactly, yeah.
Or killed one? They're not. I mean, you're talking like the species ain't in good shape. Like some people will argue that with me at conferences and stuff. They'll tell me, "Oh yeah, it's not they're doing fine. They're doing fine." I beg to differ. If they were doing fine, we would see some roadkill.
Yeah, yeah.
If we were doing fine, there wouldn't be no possibility that the thing could not exist.
Yeah, there'd definitely be people finding scat or hair, anything. They would be finding it basically all over the place because there's no way that a creature that's that hairy is going to move through brush and not have hair loss.
Exactly. So, and they'll go off into some thick junk, but then when you find it, like, okay, we found some tracks last year and we ended up sending the hair that was right by one of the tracks to 2 different labs, and in theory, no matter what it is, these labs should come up with the same exact answer.
Yeah.
And one of them was a major university. I got 2 different answers. Both of them swear up and down that they're right. Only problem with it is we don't have neither one of those animals in our area.
Yeah.
Like one said it was a cat, but the color puts it out of anything that lives in our area. And the other said a black bear, but the hair was cinnamon, and our bears down here don't change. So like in California, the black bears out there will change to a cinnamon color certain times of the year.
Yeah.
Not out here. They're just straight black. So, I mean, they may have a white patch on them. That's about it.
They just did like a hair analysis and didn't do a DNA sample on them.
From what I understand, yes, that was it. That was just a hair analysis. It's like they call it a gel test.
Yeah.
And it'll put it into a certain category. So it was just, I was like, okay, which one of y'all's right? And then we told the labs, well, hey, this lab said it was this. And then they'll both swear up and down. They start attacking each other.
Yeah.
Oh, don't listen to him. He's a drunk. It's like, whatever.
Watch how quick they turn on one another.
Yeah. Oh, don't you rebuke my stuff. I'm a scientist. And the other guy's like, well, I'm a scientist too. F*** you, man. It's like a South Park episode, I think, dude.
Yeah. All right, I kind of want to shift gears a little bit and talk about your experience on Spike TV's $10 million Bigfoot Bounty. What was it like staying in that house with all those other competitors?
I had a blast. I had a blast, dude. Like, I mean, it sucked because that was really the first time I was away from home, and I had 3 small kids. So that sucked. My partner, he had a newborn. Like, the baby had been born like 2 weeks before he left.
Wow.
So it was rough on us, but we were able to, keep each other in good spirits. And I mean, we were in Washington and California, so we had things to help us stay in good spirits. I mean, we were in Humboldt County for a while, so we had good things to help us out. But it was funny because when we got there, and this is the funny part, when I first got there, Michael Merchant, the guy that I beat out for it, he called me to his room and he's like pacing back and forth. He's like, "Oh, this person's this." He's already analyzed everything. He's like, he's scoped everything out. This is how it's gonna go. He's like, "Stacy, it's gonna be me and you in the end, but I'm gonna beat you. You just can't top me, man. You're good, but you're not that good." I'm like, "All right, well, best of luck to you guys." But people were getting paranoid and turning on each other, and like, so David, my partner, he's not real social.
Yeah.
He's not the kind that's the butterfly that everybody's going to gravitate to and just be like, "Oh, look at the pretty wings." But I am. So I've got my guitar. We're allotted so much alcohol every single night. And so we're like, I'm hanging out with everybody. I know like all these cover songs. I was in a cover band as well. And so we're singing, we're having parties all the time, and David's just sitting back scoping out, or he's chilled out in his room, And so I start making friends with everybody. Everybody there likes me, right? And that's what I wanted. And everybody liked me, because then when I come and told them, because I wanted, it was a game, it was a game, and people like the girls on there, they told us that y'all had no honor, y'all did it the wrong way, blah blah. But we played the game, And I would tell this person, "Hey man, old dude over here is running his mouth about you, cuz he's talking mad crap about you. He don't like you. He's talking about he's gonna leave you out of this. If he wins this challenge, man, you're done. You're done." And then I go and tell the other person that too. So, and I'm doing this with everybody. I mean, hell, you got a check on the line, dude. I got to bring that money home. I ain't trying to go on national TV and lose. And it was funny because when they're out there in the woods doing their stuff, they're worried about what this other guy's doing.
Yeah.
They're not worried about the task at hand. And then after the second or third show, we wanted to pick a team to tote to the end with us, if we could, and then have an easy victory. We'd take the worst team there that we felt had no chance at all at winning, teach them about Bigfoot, help them out, give them samples, explain their evidence to the judges for them before they went to elimination, so that they were guaranteed to make it to the next round, and then they would help us out. So we picked the girls, right?
Yeah.
The girls kind of got feelings for us, We didn't do anything to stop that. But we kept carrying them on, and then to the end. And then I decided, I was talking to Michael Merchant, and he was like, "Them girls are going to beat me tomorrow night, and it's all your fault." I was like, "Why is that?" He's like, "Because you've taught them everything. You keep helping them out." He goes, "And you're going to whip them, because you ain't going to help them out on that last one." He said, "But it's going to be a hollow victory for you." And I looked at him, and that hit me to the core. I was like, "Oh, he's right. Michael is the best competition here. I want to beat the best competition here."
Yeah. So
then we turned on the girls, and they thought they were all good and stuff. And so we teamed up with Michael to push them out there at the end. I was like, "Hey, let's make sure these fools ain't around. They ain't got a business here. I shouldn't have brought them along this far."
Yeah.
They were so mad, dude. It was great. Hey, I loved the drama. Like, I loved it. It was every bit of it. I was like, this is like high school again, man. I'm in the mix of all of it, but nobody hates me.
We was talking, you were saying that a lot of the people who claim to have had encounters are just straight up liars. And for those of you who didn't see this show, one of the competitors named Justin claimed that he had killed 2 of these Bigfoot creatures. How full of crap do you think he is?
Brother, he could tell you to his face. He'd tell you to your face, and you might believe him. If you're hanging out with him, I'm like, serious. I'm being serious about that. You might believe him. And the only thing, there's a few things I don't get. Okay, because he tells the story the same every single time, and I probably lived with him at least on that show 2 months, and then I went and hung out. I went and stayed at his house probably a month or so. Different, like a week here, a week there type thing. He was a good buddy of mine, and he lied to you about anything else, like straight up just make stuff up and see if you'll believe it.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then there's the whole fact that you had a 30-pound Bigfoot and you didn't throw it in your truck.
Yeah, that's what bothers me. First off, I mean, he says he shot 2 of them, and then he claims to have gone in there and strangled the one to death.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you've got what would arguably be the biggest scientific discovery of this century.
Yeah.
And you're telling me you didn't pick it up, throw it over your shoulder, and carry it out of there. I don't believe that.
Well, in his defense, the BLM or the wildlife officers out there are everywhere. Okay. We gave an expedition one time. They flew me out there as a guest. It was in the Sierras. And he put on Facebook that he was picking Stacy Brown and Megan Fox up at the airport. Right?
Okay.
Just a joke. Now, Megan Fox had just recently came out and said that she could find Bigfoot, right?
Okay.
I don't know if you remember that, but
No,
she came out a few
I
years
remember
ago. If you look it up, she said she's going to be the one that proves Bigfoot's real. Well, we go down one day, down this little diner. It's down at the bottom of the mountain. And we come back up, and there's like 40 cops there. I am not lying to you, dude. There was cops all over the place. I'm like, what is going on? They're looking for me and Megan Fox. Megan Fox was a joke. And they're like, all right, cool. And they're asking me all these questions. I'm like, hey, I'm just a guest, man. I don't know what your laws are in Florida. I'm just a guest.
Yeah.
So they are, he is paranoid about them, and rightfully so. I mean, he just got arrested the other day for he's facing he'll probably never be able to hunt again.
Yeah. I don't know though, man. I still.
Well, I did see a Bigfoot with him. I did see a Bigfoot with him, and that was not at the same spot, but it was down elevation. It was that same week. I did actually see one with my eyes with him, and there was no way it could have been a person because it took off down this cliff, and this cliff was like a straight drop. Not straight, but had me or you walk down it, we would roll. Is he lying about shooting 2 Bigfoots? There's a lot of stuff there that points to that he is.
Yeah.
Okay. Because Bigfoot Evidence, the guy Sean, they started that website while they were buddies in high school, and all of a sudden Justin's killed a Bigfoot.
Yeah.
So the stories are only releasing from that website. That website's getting a ton of news. They got Robert Lindsay, this guy, they're feeding, I'm dropping names here, but they're feeding him info. So he'll release stories, and it's like, where are the leaks coming from? Well, the leaks are coming from them.
Yeah.
There's a lot that makes it look like a hoax, and it may be a hoax. He tells the story well. The Bigfoot that I seen with him was legit, and so I know he has saw a Bigfoot because he was standing right beside me.
Yeah. I mean, he may have seen a Bigfoot, and I'm no one to judge, but the story seemed implausible. And then when he was questioned about it, about the DNA evidence, and he said, well, it came up feral human, I honestly just about died laughing at that point.
Well, see, okay, in his defense for that, and I don't mean to defend him, but just the true story, they were giving money to this lady named Melba Ketchum. Because when his story broke, a bunch of big names come in and started throwing money down. Well, let's get these boots tested. They got the blood on them. Okay, we'll get the boots tested. Okay, do you have a sample? Let's go back and try it. They tried to go back when the ice thawed and dig it up or find the body. They couldn't find it, but they had search dogs. They had a large squad out there. Okay, and they found a chunk of flesh. They didn't know what it was. He said, well, it's the same color as the Bigfoot. It may be the Bigfoot. He said it may. Never said it was. It turned out it was a bear. But that lady that they were sending the testing to is now she's got charges pressed against her because she took a lot of people for a lot of money. And I mean a lot of money, like $500,000-$600,000.
Wow.
And doing DNA tests, but mixing the DNA to come up with what she wanted it to. And so when her journal came out, her peer review, other people did samples as well, and they're like, she's making this up. This isn't real. I'm not coming up with these explanations, and you can't get this result if you do it how she says to do it, because how she says to do it isn't real.
Yeah.
She ended up saying they were like angels. So she's the one who told him it was feral human
Okay.
because he wasn't that smart.
Yeah.
And then it made him look stupid, but he tells a good story. I don't know if it's true or not. If it is true, I got my own problems with it. As like, why didn't you bring it out, dude?
Yeah.
You had to have known what it was. You can't tell me you didn't know what it was.
Yeah. Now, one of the things, man, I have to say that I did like about that show was the fact that they had Todd Disotell and Natalie Reagan on there. How did kind of working with them change the way you collected and evaluated evidence?
Well, see, like we already had a forensics guy on my team. We had a cop that was interested after our footage come out. He come out with us. He didn't believe. He was just interested.
Yeah.
And he was a forensic detective. He's more of a lab guy, but he was a police officer all the same. Well, he seen Bigfoot. And there's moments when he become a believer and he's like, I'm leaving, blah, 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 flipping out. And I'm like, I told you these things were out here. Why are you doing this? So anyways, he had done trained us, right? And we didn't tell nobody that. We wanted to keep that. We didn't want the doctor to know that. We were listening, we were paying attention. We already knew everything he was saying. I didn't want to do something wrong and then him throw that in my face.
Yeah.
So learning from him, not so much because I already knew everything, but it was just an experience, because it was a grinder. They really hammered a lot of people, and we didn't ever get hammered. Like one time, we didn't find nothing because there was no Bigfoots in the area, or had been no Bigfoots in the area, and we told them that, and so we went to elimination, I think, on the show one time until it was down to so many teams that every team had to go to elimination.
Yeah.
Right there in the beginning, we didn't ever go. We collected our DNA good. We actually even quit the show one time. The first episode, 2 teams bring in primate DNA. And so they're saved from elimination. Well, we got mad. I was like, hell with this. I'm going home. Y'all, and I told Todd that we had a big meeting because, seriously, our bags were packed. And we come out of our room and said, hey, we need you to take us to the airport. We quit. We're going home. And they're like, whoa, what's going on? And I said that they got DNA. They got primate DNA. I said, that is a coyote turd. I know it's a coyote turd. It's not big enough to be from a Sasquatch. I said, they just breathed on it.
Yeah.
They breathed on it or contaminated it. And I said, and y'all haven't collected our DNA to make sure that it's not us, to rule us out or anything. And they ended up having a big deal of it where they come in, they swabbed everybody's mouth and stuff after that. Because I was done. I was like, I ain't being on this. This is crap. I got a reputation. I said, I'll just go home. Hell with this. And then that was the one thing that was kind of, because after then it got tight. Todd did his thing and all that, and he would ask for. It was a TV show. They wanted him to be a prick. He's actually pretty cool and pretty good friend of mine. So he still does all my stuff today.
I was going to say, because I've seen him in other interviews and stuff, and I know they brought him in there to be the debunker. That's why they brought him in, and I understand he was playing that role, and I understand that more than likely he's a skeptic, but
oh yeah.
The thing is, I think they probably told him, look, we want you to act this way and do this and, to come off because it makes for better television.
Oh, most definitely. That's, they even did that with me. Like, if you notice the hairstyle I wear on there,
yeah,
it's more or less the first man bun. So, hey, you can argue the fact that I'm the father of the man bun.
I don't know if I'd tell anyone that.
Hey, yeah, it's mixed reactions. I've been hit a few times, but it's true. The man bun got big in 2013. My show aired in January of 2013, and I was rocking that man bun. Jared Leto likes to claim that he brought it back into style, but nobody thinks Jared Leto's cool. So that's not even possible. Yeah, right, Jared Leto. Shut up.
Oh man, I want to kind of talk about your appearances on Finding Bigfoot, and you kind of talked about earlier how that came all about. But what was it like going out with those guys?
I mean, it wasn't much. I knew them already. It was cool. It was fun. I won't ever forget those times, but those, it was making a TV show. So you had the schedules, you had to be here, you had to be there. The real stuff didn't happen. The fun stuff didn't happen on camera.
Yeah.
behind the scenes. So like, yeah, but it was a good time because like the last time I was on the show, we were in South Florida and the Super Bowl was that week. So they like shut the Chili's down just for the cast and crew.
Nice.
And they bought a bunch of cases of Jameson, like the film crew like Jameson, which is god awful and disgusting. But we sat there and watched the Super Bowl and had a big party and stuff. And then we had to film the next day, but like I kept partying all night and it started raining. So we jumped in the Penske truck. We were in there smoking cigarettes and drinking and hanging out, and me and a few of the like crew. And then the guy comes out and opens the damn door in the morning, and we're still in there, and it's daylight outside. I'm like, wow. And he's like, y'all got to leave in 30 minutes. What are y'all doing? I was like, oh, yeah, hey, let me go get a shower.
Yes.
So, yeah, it was fun, man. I'll never forget that stuff. But as for being in the woods and like hunting Bigfoot with that, did you get like 3 or 4 people? Everybody's got lights on them, you know. I mean,
Yeah.
you got camera crew with you. You ain't finding nothing.
Yeah.
Never. You know, you may hear something. Good luck.
No.
So it's just a TV show.
I gotta ask, man, is Bobo really that goofy, or is that just a character he plays?
No, that's Bobo, guys. That's why I love him. I love him to death, dude. And Bobo is Bobo. You know, he calls me up. He is like 3 a.m, and I was sleeping, and my phone rings in my bedroom, in my hotel room. And the pickup phone is Bobo. He's like, "Hey, Stace, kind of bored, man. You mind if I come up and hang out?" I was like, "Yeah, sure. Let me get dressed. Come on up." And he's like 2 rooms down, so it's like I'm getting dressed. I hear the knock at the door. I was like, "Damn, that was quick," you know. So yeah, that's Bobo, 100%. He ain't playing. That's him. Love him or hate him.
All right, man. Now, I know you're into just about everything paranormal. I know you're into ghosts and aliens and everything else. So what other projects do you have going on right now that we're going to see here in the future?
Well, I got this movie I just did. It's a comedy about Bigfoot. It's called Interview a Monster. And I star in that one alongside Les Stroud and Tom Green. I'm actually Les Stroud's assistant in that movie and Tom Green's nemesis. So, and then besides that, I got a movie, a documentary I did called Roswell 70 Years Later. That'll be up the end of this month, the 1st of December on Amazon. Got another documentary we're shooting probably out in February, like Valentine's Day, somewhere around in there. It's called The Ocheezy Wild Man. It's about a Bigfoot that was captured in like 1874.
Nice.
Around here, and it was a big deal. They took it to the governor. The governor's like, "Get it out of here," and take it back to the mental institution, lock it up. And that's what they did with it till it died. It was a real thing, and so we're gonna do a film on that, and I'm gonna shoot a horror movie. I've got another movie coming out, Hunting the Legend 2, where I play like a hired mercenary going in to capture a Bigfoot, and then I got another little thing I'm working on. I can't really speak on that, but that'd be kind of away from Bigfoot and aliens and stuff. That'd be my first deal that's not involving some weird clique.
Yeah.
You know. So a bunch of stuff coming out, and I'm hoping I can cut a new record next year.
Busy man.
I got ADD, bro. I gotta stay busy or I'll get depressed.
All right. I'm going to wrap this up, man. Where can everybody find you at?
Check me out on Facebook. Stacy Brown Jr. Different pages on there. I got the Roswell 70 Years Later. My Bigfoot group, the Apalachicola Skunk Project.org. Or no, it's called the Florida Skunk Ape. My bad. Florida Skunk Ape Project.org. And anyways, that's a nonprofit we just set up. It's geared towards taking underprivileged kids, youth groups, kids with disabilities, disabled veterans out on camping trips and get them into Bigfooting or just into the outdoors. And the good thing about that is when these families leave the expedition, their tent and everything that we supplied, their cooler, their cooker, the sleeping bags, all that, they take it with them. It's theirs. Now all you got to do is just go camping. So we're raising money for that. it's just more of a way to give back. It's like my Bigfooting so much and camping. Like my son loves his video games, but if I'm taking Bigfooting, he's beating the back of the truck to go. So, I wanted to give that to other kids.
Very
kids
cool.
may not get the chance. So I'm big into that, and we're going to try to our first expedition be in January.
All right. If you send me a link to that, I'll post it up on our website. That way everybody can take a look at that.
Yeah, we take donations too. Like I said, it's nonprofit, so everything is raised goes right back into it. Like let's say the family wanted to come out. It's like they seen the Bigfoot trip. It was in their area. They wanted to come. The food's provided. Your camping stuff's provided. The camping chairs, sleeping bags, pillows, all that. And they get to go out for the weekend. It don't cost them a thing but gas. And then they go on out. And we've even we're getting it's like a transit bus.
Yeah.
But it's a handicapped transit bus. And so if handicapped kids come, they can go in this decked out surveillance van.
Nice.
And they can still Bigfoot too. They don't have to trek off into the woods.
That's important to me. Being blind, it's tough to get out and do things like that anymore. I used to love hunting and just being in the woods and stuff like that. And now, that's something I really can't do. And so if you're giving kids that opportunity, to be able to get out there, even if they have those disabilities, man, that's awesome.
Yeah. It makes us, kind of makes me grin a little bit when I tell people about it. It's like, yeah, give them back. I'm pretty proud of it.
Yeah.
So.
All right, brother.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
Had a good time, man. We'll love to have you back on the show at a later date.
Yeah, no problem, man. Just stay in touch.
All right, man.
All right, brother. Take it easy.
Thanks a lot. I had a great time talking to Stacy. He was an entertaining guy, and it was a fun interview.
I mean, you seemed like you had a lot of fun. You guys were laughing and carrying on, and he seemed like a really nice guy, good sense of humor. I enjoyed listening to it.
Yeah, and I guess the one thing I feel like you can take out of the interview is that while he's a true believer and he and his father had that experience, you should always remain skeptical, or at least until you've actually seen one and experienced it yourself.
Yeah, that's one thing I was going to say about it is that, he says, 100% legit. We saw a Bigfoot. They have it on the thermal camera. It's pretty cool, a pretty cool video to watch. And I guess he's spent quite a few years doing that. And even though he knows they exist, he's still saying there are some things that he's not sure about. There's some things that people tell him that he knows probably isn't true or accurate. And he still tells people, make up your own mind. Don't believe it, because we don't know if he's actually telling the truth.
Yeah, exactly.
So don't believe it until you actually see one. Although I do believe there is some sort of Bigfoot out there. I don't necessarily think, that it's like a Harry and the Hendersons type of thing, but I do think that there's probably something, because we have new animal species all the time that are being discovered. And I think there's too many people that have claimed to see one. And even if half of them are not being truthful about it, that's still an awful lot of people who claim to have the same experience, who claim to have seen the same thing.
Yeah, exactly. And one of the things is that even though I'm a skeptic, I still, as a person who really relies on science and wants hard facts, you have to be open to the idea that something may be out there that has yet to be discovered and cataloged. To just close your mind to it completely and say, no, nothing like that exists, is really, to me, the opposite of science. Because if science hadn't remained open to changing ideas and new discoveries, honestly, we'd still think the earth was flat and that the sun revolved around the earth. So saying that nothing is out there and that there's no possible way that there can be any new discoveries or any new species that we haven't found yet, I honestly think that's ludicrous. Now, whether it's an 8-foot tall ape man that can dimension jump and has psychic abilities, that's a little different story.
Yeah, that's the part that he kind of lost me during the interview. He seemed pretty down to earth throughout most of it, talking about, if you haven't seen it, don't believe in it. And there's a lot of things that you'll find that you think belong to, a Bigfoot, but there's a logical explanation for it. And then he says, well, I'm not too sure if, they can't disappear and they can't jump around from one dimension to the other. And that seems a little far-fetched to me. But, who knows?
Yeah. And the thing is, he's passionate about what he does.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
And for the most part, I think that he tries to debunk the things that he finds or the evidence that he sees or hears before he's willing to say, okay, I think that what we have here may be Bigfoot related.
Yeah, it seemed like he does a lot of fact checking and asking other people, what could this be? And he sends things off to get tested. And, he spoke about asking his buddy Les Stroud, that's super awesome. It would be really neat to be friends with him. What different howls were, different noises. So he's not seeing something and saying, oh, this is definitely a Bigfoot. He's, like he said, he only, 5% of the time or something, finds something when he goes out. So that, I think, lends a little more credibility to what he's saying when he says, these are the times that I've seen one and this is what has happened, because he's not claiming that every single time he goes out. He's saying more times than not, I don't find anything. So I think that makes him maybe a little more credible.
Exactly. And his willingness to have a member of a forensics unit on his team, that kind of lends him a little more credibility as well. Again, I guess really at the end of the day, you have to look at the evidence that someone's bringing in, remove all the possibilities that it could be something else, and then look at what you're left with.
Yeah, and if you get hopefully one little piece that has no explanation, it can't be anything else, then maybe come at that with an open mind and, okay, what do we have then? If we know it's not this, or this, then it's got to be a Bigfoot.
So, at the end of the day, folks, all you can do is decide for yourself whether it's fact or whether it's just smoke and mirrors.
And Stacy, if you're listening, we totally want to go Bigfooting with you, so.
Yeah, that'd be fun if I could get around in the woods without falling down and breaking my neck. So everyone, thanks for joining us for this episode of Smoke and Mirrors. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, Player FM, Podomatic, our YouTube channel, or on our website at smokeandmirrorspod.weebly.com. There you can find podcast, videos, and great Smoke and Mirrors gear. Just search for Smoke and Mirrors Paranormal on your favorite podcast player. If it isn't there, let us know. We will be happy to get it added. Also, you can find us on Facebook at Smoke and Mirrors Paranormal. Give it a like and join the discussion group so you can let us know what you think of the show. We'll be happy to respond.
If you would like to help the cast grow, please rate and review us on iTunes. We've gotten some pretty awesome reviews so far, so please keep them coming. We want to end our show now with a paranormal encounter sent in by listener Chris.
In the early 2000s, my wife and I moved into an apartment in Valparaiso, Indiana. Despite the apartments being newer, I always had an uneasy feeling there. I would hear knocks and scratches in my office, and our cats acted strangely. I told the apartment manager that I may have squirrels or some other animal living in the attic above me, but when they checked it out, nothing was there. One winter night, I was laying on the couch watching football. I had just dozed off when suddenly I was awakened by a noise in the kitchen.
I'm right behind you.
When I looked up, I saw a girl standing there. At first, I thought it was my wife, so I called to her, "Honey, is that you?" She never responded. That's when I noticed that the girl in the kitchen had black hair and was slowly but continually moving in a triangle pattern as if she was preparing something.
It's all for you.
I sat and watched her move about for 10 minutes, and I noticed both cats watching her movements as well. They were following her with their eyes, turning their heads to watch her as she moved. When I got up to take a closer look, the girl turned toward me. There was pure darkness where her face should have been. Then, in an instant, she disappeared. I spent all night trying to rationalize to myself what I had just seen. I told myself that I must have been dreaming, but it felt so real. After the girl disappeared, I noticed both cats running into the kitchen, sniffing the floor in the exact spot that the girl had walked in. Had I been dreaming, or was this real? I decided not to tell my wife about my encounter because she was always frightened by those types of stories. One night, after we had moved from the apartment, I told her about the noises I had heard and the uneasy feeling I had always had when we lived there. That's when she told me that she had seen an old man walking back and forth through the hallway many times, but she was afraid to talk about it. Needless to say, we were both happy and relieved about having moved, and we will never forget our experiences there. Thanks again for sending that in, Chris.
Remember to send in your stories of paranormal encounters to smokeandmirrorspod@gmail.com. Thanks again so much for listening and subscribing. Have a great night.
Good night, everyone.